This video series, What to Expect as a New Entrant, a guide to running your trucking company during the first year, has been developed by Apex Capital to help you understand the policies and procedures that you must have in place in order to pass your safety audit and receive your permanent operating authority. Today we are talking with Reagan Orman about hours of service. Reagan is Associate General Counsel at Apex Capital, and she also leads the Apex Startup Program, a program designed to help those interested in starting a trucking company get their operating authority.
Hours of service rules are driving and driver time limits that the FMCSA, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, has put into effect to ensure safety as well as to keep fatigued drivers off of the nation's roadways. I'll walk through 4 of the main hours of service rules. The first one is the 11-hour driving limit, and that means that a driver can drive up to 11 hours during any consecutive 14-hour period. The second rule that kind of goes along with that first one is the 14-hour limit. And that means that for every 14-hour consecutive period that a driver has in which they can drive up to 11 hours, they need to take a 10-hour consecutive break before they drive again. Third, there's the rest break rule. And that means that every 8 consecutive hours of drive time, the driver has to take at least one 30-minute break, either off duty or in the sleeper berth. And the fourth rule is that it's the 60 or 70-hour limit. And that means that a driver cannot drive after 60 hours in a 7-day period or 70 hours in an 8-day period unless they restart their clock. And that restart is done with 34 or more consecutive hours off duty. Now, the important thing to remember about this one is there used to be a rule limiting that restart to 1 per week and requiring that it have 2 periods in it from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m., but that was suspended in 2014 and is still pending the FMCSA completing some studies to make sure that it had the effect they were hoping for. Now, keep in mind there are lots of nuances and exceptions to these rules, but those are your 4 main ones. Every motor carrier can help maintain their hours of service compliance by keeping a logbook. Now, that can be in either physical form or electronic. A lot of your bigger carriers and even some smaller ones have already switched over to electronic logbooks, but it would be wise to switch to an electronic logging device or e-logs as soon as you're able to, because by December 16th of 2017, all motor carriers are going to be required to be using ELDs, except those with a model year older than 2000. The record-keeping requirements for hours of service documents varies regarding who you are. So drivers have to keep with them a copy of the previous 7 days worth of logbooks that they have in case of inspections, and they have to submit those logs to their motor carrier within 13 days of completion. The motor carrier then is required to retain the logbooks for at least 6 months, and they also have to keep supporting documents for those logbooks. And supporting documents is anything that could corroborate a logbook, which includes things like expense receipts for fuel or personal items, dispatch records, or even bills of lading. If you're not keeping your hours of service logbooks, you're violating an FMCSA regulation. And anytime that your company's doing that, you're liable for civil penalties and sometimes even criminal penalties. So make sure that you're keeping your logbooks, otherwise, ultimately, your authority could be revoked.
You have just watched one video in our series, What to Expect as a New Entrant, a guide to running your trucking company during the first year. Please see other videos in this series or download our white paper to learn more about being a new entrant, insurance, alcohol and drug testing, taxes, IFTA, safety, the driver qualification file, hours of service, the safety audit, and additional filings.